Now let's start. Okay, how every fool can play upon the word, I think the best grace of wit will shortly turn into silence. So, Lorenzo is, because Lancelot is giving very light answers to his things, to what he's saying, he's giving a twist to its answers. As I said, this is a very light scene, as I told you the other day. So, how every fool can play upon the word. So, every fool plays upon the word. That's the thing. So, how every fool, because see, that is the work of these court jesters or these clowns. They are very adept at using words, punning on words, using various types of comparisons and all these things to give new turns and twists, maybe in a light manner, sometimes in a serious manner also, but they are always able to do it. So, I think the best grace of wit will shortly turn into silence, and discourse grow commendable in none only but parrots. The way Lancelot is trying to, Lorenzo, what Lorenzo is trying to say is that the way these fools, particularly is hinting at Lancelot, well, now the way they are talking and the way they are hinting, using words, playing on words, then people with intelligence, people who have the power to discourse, to argue, to talk, they will fall silent. They will feel themselves useless in front of these fools. And so they will become silent, and discourse grow commendable in none only but parrots. So only parrots who just imitate words, they would be fit for making all these discourses, because in front of these fools who are very adept at using words and things, playing on words, bringing out new meanings or new indications through these words, and they will, what should I say, these people will just become a bit silent, because they won't be able to match, though they have the knowledge of discourse and all these things. This is just sheer fun. This is done, sir. They have all stomachs. So, what Lancelot is again turning it. Well, this is done because they have to carry on, because they have all their hungers, and for that reason they have to do it. Goodly Lord, what a wit snapper you are. What a wit snapper. Wit snapper means a person who is very, very witty. Instantly you can give your turn to anything that comes. Very, very sharp at using your words. So what a wit snapper you are you? Then bid them prepare dinner. So then ask the servants to prepare dinner. That is done too, sir. Only cover is the word. So cover is the word, possibly it means that everything is dinner is, not possibly, it means that dinner is ready, everything is ready. The moment you say, we will lay the tablecloth and serve the dinner. So cover is the word. So the tablecloth that covers. Will you cover then, sir? Not so, neither. I know my duty. Well, he says, no, my duty is not to cover the table, because I know my duty well. Yet more quarrelling with occasion. Wilt thou show the whole wealth of thy wit in an instant? So, Launcelot cannot carry on, or rather cannot carry on with the intelligence of our Lorenzo. He cannot carry on with the intelligence of Lorenzo. I'm sorry. Lorenzo cannot carry on with the intelligence of Launcelot. With Launcelot. So, yet more quarreling. Again, you are playing on words and cutting words. Wilt thou show the whole wealth of thy... So, what do you intend to do? Do you want to show all your talents, your wits at using and playing with words, juggling with words? So, do you want to do it in one day? Today by today? I pray thee understand a plain man in his plain meaning. Go to thy fellows, bid them cover the table, serve in the meat, and we will come into dinner. Now he says, well, see, enough of all those playings and punnings and similes and all these things. Enough of all those playing with words. What I want to say is, try to understand the whole thing in a very plain manner. And that is, go and tell the servants to put the cover on the table, bring the meat to the table, and we will come into dinner. For the table, sir, it will be served in. For the meat, sir, it will be covered. So again he is playing on the word. Again he is playing on the word. So he is telling the table will be served in and the meat will be covered. Here, covered doesn't mean the tablecloth. Tablecloth, it means the cover over the container of the meat. For your coming into dinner, sir, why let it be as humors and conceits shall govern. And regarding your coming into dinner, well, let it be as you wish and when you wish. So according to your humors and conceits and intelligence and feelings and all these things, let it be. And then he exits. Oh dear discretion, how his words are suited. So, dear discretion means intelligence here, in that sense. How his words are suited means how suitably he can use his words. How suitably he can play with his words. The fool hath planted in his memory an army of good words, and I do know a many fools that stand in better place, garnished like him. He's telling that this fool here, Launcelot, who is the clown, the fool, he has in his head lot of words so that he can play and pun and all these things with words. And I know, not only this is what happens with fools. I know many fools who are garnished with him. Garnish is actually decorations used over food. So he is using that. So decorations used over food. So he is using that metaphor. So many see, what he is trying to say may not be, it may not be always that correct. At least Shakespeare had many times shown that it may not be that correct. That is, the fool actually is somebody who is not worth it, who only can entertain with words and all these things. But this is not always correct. And that is what he says, that garnished and dressed up like them, dressed up with words. But it is not always correct. We saw how in King Lear, Shakespeare had made an outstanding use of a fool. How he is much more intelligent, much more righteous, much more directed towards the right way than Lear himself, Lear's follower, the fool, than Lear, who is the protagonist or the hero of the play, than Lear himself. Similarly, also in As You Like It, we see Touchstone playing a very vital role while guiding the two ladies through the forest. So that for a tricky word, defy the matter, how cheerest thou, Jessica? So well, that's for the matter. Now let's forget about that. We had enough talking with fools, about fools rather. So, are you cheerful, Jessica? How cheerest thou, Jessica? And now, good sweet, say thy opinion. How dost thou like the Lord Bassanio's wife? Now let us hear your opinion. How much you like Lord Bassanio's wife? Let's hear that. Past all expressing. So Jessica says, Lord Bassanio's wife is past all expressions, beyond all comparisons. It is very meet the Lord Bassanio live in an upright life. So, by, what should I say, by such a meeting, by such a marriage with a person like Jessica, there is very little doubt that Lord Bassanio will have an upright and very steady life, very good life, a true life, for having such a blessing in his lady, because his wife who has come to his life is a blessing to him. His wife is a blessing to him virtually. He finds the joys of heaven here on earth, and if on earth he do not merit it, in reason he should never come to heaven. There is no doubt what he is wanting to say, what she is wanting to say is that there is no doubt that Portia's wit, Portia's intelligence, Portia's goodness, Portia's humane qualities is something very worth it, very prized, and will remain as something very prized, something of merit in Bassanio's life, And if Bassanio cannot give worth to this merit, if Bassanio proves unworthy of this merit, then of course, he will not find heaven. He will be damned to go to hell because he is not worthy true to his wife, who bears all the good humane qualities. Why, if two gods should play some heavenly match, and on the wager lay two earthly women, and Portia won, there must be something else pawned with the other, for the poor rude world hath not for her fellow. What he wants to mean is that if two gods are trying to make a match, when as they believe that marriage is destined in heaven, heaven always creates the match. So marriage is always destined in heaven. So if two gods are making match with two earthly women, then, and Portia is one, there must be something else pawned with the other, for the poor rude world hath not her fellow. Then and if one of the two women is Portia, then of course the other woman can never be a match to her. And in order to come up to some standards of Portia, he has to give a stake, pawn something, which she will offer for marriage, something really good and precious, and only by that she will be able to gain access to marriage. Otherwise, Portia will remain incomparable. Even such husband hast thou of me, as he is for a wife. And Lorenzo believes that he is a very good husband. And he says, even such a husband hast thou of me. Comparing herself with Portia, Lorenzo is a wastrel, as I said. And Lorenzo is really, in that sense, an unworthy fellow. So, but he feels that he is such a husband, just as Portia is a wife. Nay, but ask my opinion too of that. I'll anon, first let us go to dinner. Well, he says, well, now you do one thing, you ask my opinion about that. And he says, well, I'll ask it later, in a short time. Anon means in a short time. But first let's go to dinner. Nay, let me praise you while I have a stomach. Now he's using quibbling on the word stomach. He's bringing out extra meaning while he's referring to the dinner. So what he's trying to say, while I have hunger, before satiating my hunger, before taking in food, let me speak all good things about you. And secondly is craving to speak. Second meaning of stomach would be while I crave to speak, while I yearn to speak, while I want to speak. Okay, no, pray thee, let it serve for the table talk. Then howsoever thou speakest among other things, I shall digest it. But possibly Lorenzo is very hungry, and he says, well, since dinner time has come, so let us first take dinner, and at the table we can discuss it. So we will talk at the table, because among other things, and there you can go on talking, and among other talks, I will also digest your opinion about myself. well, I set you forth, so I will praise you greatly at the table. That's what Jessica says, that I'll praise you greatly at the table. Now we are coming to a very, very important scene. A very, very important scene. That is the court scene. All stakes are against Antonio. Antonio, according to rule, at least that is how they see, that according to the law of Venice, there is no reprieve for Antonio. Antonio cannot save himself, though nobody wants Antonio to die like that, but they are too helpless against the bindings of law. So this is a court of justice. See, as I told you, Shakespeare's plays, they do not obey the place of action. This moment it is here, the next moment it shifts to a completely very far of place. So from our Portia's house in Belmont, we come back to Venice, the court in Venice, and to the Duke, the Magnificos, Antonio, Bassanio, and Graciano, Salerio, and others. So they enter. What is Antonio here? So the Duke is feeling sorry for Antonio. Everybody loves Antonio because he has a generous spirit. He is ever helpful to other Christians, and again, Venice being a Christian-dominated place, so the Christians are feeling very, very sorry for Antonio. So what is Antonio here? Ready, so please your grace. So I am ready to meet justice. I'm sorry for thee, thou art come to answer a stony adversary. What he's saying, I'm feeling very sorry for you. You have to answer. Maybe because of your deeds, you failed to keep your promise, the bond. You failed the bond. So that is how you are going to face a stony adversary, a hard-hearted enemy, an inhuman wretch, a most wretched person, and with inhumanity, cannot be compared to a human being, Now see one thing, the Duke is trying to say this because the Duke possibly, privately, had tried to convince Shylock. The Duke had tried to convince Shylock to tear off the bond, to just give up the bond. From any dram of mercy. Dram means the smallest quantity. He lacks the smallest quantity of mercy. So incapable of pity, void and empty. So he is such a soul which is incapable of, what should I say, mercy. He cannot show mercy. His heart is not made fit to show mercy. His heart is totally empty, void, totally blank inside. From any void of what? Void of any dram of mercy. Even the slightest bit of mercy is not there in him. Even the slightest bit of mercy is not there in him. I have heard your grace hath ta'en great pains to qualify his rigorous course. Antonio, as I said, that the Duke had attempted, the Duke has used some of his powers to convince Shylock. So he is telling that, I have heard your grace hath taken great pains to qualify his rigorous course. So to qualify means to improve, to change here. You have taken lots of pains, you have attempted, you have made several attempts to change the rigorous course, rigorous, very, very stern and what should I say, bound towards one line. So you have tried to change the direction of his thought, try to instill mercy in him. But since he stands obdurate means very, very stubborn, very, very stubborn. He is very, very stubborn. He is not a man to listen, and that no lawful means can carry me out of his envy's reach. I do oppose my patience to his fury. What he's saying is that, and since if law has to be executed in Venice, and I know it, that Venice does not have any other options. Venice really doesn't have any other options but to execute the law in its proper manner. And by executing the law in its proper manner, what should I say, forcing I'm sorry, but by executing the law in its proper manner, what I mean is that Venice, the law of Venice does not give the Duke any permission to cancel Shylock's bond if Shylock is unwilling to do it. So it doesn't give him any permission. So you cannot do anything. In spite of your goodness, in spite of your wish to do it. So no lawful attempt can take me out of, no lawful attempt can take me out of the mercy of this, or rather the envy of this such a hard-hearted man. I do oppose my patience to his fury. So I am opposing my patience. That means, I am opposing my patience means I do not want to be more patient and pray before him. I do not want to be more patient and to pray more and more before him, so that he can forgive me. So I do oppose my patience. I'm against my patience. It's useless trying to convince Shylock. And I'm armed to suffer with a quietness of spirit. And I'm armed means from inside my mind. I have a strong mind. I have a strong mind to suffer what will be my fate. So I have a strong mind to suffer what is destined to me. The very tyrannian rage of his. So he's very tyrannous. He's full of tyranny. Very, very tyrannical person. He's a very, very tyrannical person. So I am ready to suffer his tyranny, his anger, that he is ready to pour on me. Go one and call the Duke into the court. So the Duke is trying to make one last attempt, a last honest attempt to convince Shylock. Salerio says he is ready at the door. He comes, my lord. Make room. Let him stand before our face. Let him stand before our face means bring him close to us. Let him see our face. Let him see the face of Christian mercy. How merciful Christians can be. Let him come in front of us. Then he will understand that it is not befitting to show all hatred and only hatred and malice towards other people. Shylock, the world thinks, and I think so too, that thou but leadest this fashion of thy malice to the last hour of act, and then 'tis thought thou'lt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. He's trying in a different way. He had tried to convince him so long. He had tried to convince him. Now he's trying a different ball game altogether. He's telling as if he has taken this to be true. See, Shylock, I know. Just as the whole world thinks this, I, as a duke, also thinks. See, a duke's thought is bound to have more effect, is bound to appear more binding. It's bound to be more binding. So, just as the whole world thought, I also thought that thou leadest this fashion of thy malice. Whatever you are trying to show, this malicious tendency of yours, to the last hour of act, you are actually acting. You are trying to possibly give some lesson to Antonio. So you will carry it on to the last hour. I know that. So to the last hour of act, because this is an acting. This cannot be. A man cannot be that hard-hearted, that cruel beyond limit. That cannot be. I don't believe it, that it is possible for a man to be that much cruel. So you will take it up to a limit. And then 'tis thought, thou wilt show thy mercy and remorse more strange than is thy strange apparent cruelty. Now it is appearing that there can be no mercy. Mercy is something very strange in a man like you. Remorse, feeling bad for somebody. All these things are very, very strange things for a man like you. But after taking the whole thing to an extent, you will finally show your mercy, which is truly there inside you. You will show your mercy, you will show your remorse, that you feel bad to hurt a person, maybe kill him. So you will feel bad about that. So that is thy strange. So, and that remorse, however, will appear strange at the so-called cruelty, but still what should I say? But I would say your cruelty is something stranger. Because this cruelty is not a human quality. No human being can be so much bloodthirsty. No human being can be so much bloodthirsty that they can go to such an extent. So that would appear very, very strange. And where thou now exacts the penalty, when the penalty that you are seeking, which is a pound of this poor merchant's flesh, thou wilt not only lose the forfeiture, but touched with human gentleness and love, forgive a moiety of the principal. And I believe that you will show your greatness. You will show your greatness. How? Not only will you forgive, not only will you forgive Antonio, that, well, I don't need his flesh, a pound of flesh. I don't need it. And you will loosen your forfeiture by that. Just, well, let it go. And maybe you will be good enough, because Antonio has faced so much loss, huge financial losses, because all his ships had been drowned and lost in the sea. So you will forgive a part of the principal also. Okay, I won't take the full principal back. Not only anything else, you will forgive a part of, moiety means a part of the principal. Glancing an eye of pity on his losses, thinking about his losses, you will give up a part of the principal also. That has of so late huddled on his back. Now that has, because a huge loss has become a heavy load on his back. The huge loss has become a huge load on his back. And now to praise a royal merchant down, even such a royal heart, a man, such a great businessman. Antonio is actually a very great businessman, very famous all over. But even such a loss can bow down any businessman, even of the stature of Antonio. and pluck commiserations of his teeth. So just make him more. This loss has made him more. When he is suffering much more than that. From brassy bosoms and rough hearts of flint, from stubborn Turks and Tartars, never trained to offices of tender courtesy. So what I am requesting you is give up your hard heart. Give up your hard heart, your brass bosom, your very hardened soul. And rough hearts of flint, like Turks. Turks were supposed to believed to be very, very cruel, very stubborn, untrained, more, what should I say, rustic, cruel. So like that, to offices of tender courtesy, to offices where, like Christians, you show tender courtesy, forgiveness. We all expect a gentle answer, Jew, and the whole court is expecting a favorable answer, a gentle, true, good answer from you. I have possessed your grace of what I purpose. But Shylock is unmoved. It's totally unmoved. So I told your grace what I purpose. And by our holy Sabbath I have sworn. So that's a holy thing. I have sworn to have the due and forfeit of my bond. So I am not moved by all your pleas. I am not moved by all your requests and pleas and prayers. I am ever ready to have my due when that is written on the bond, when the bond is forfeited. I am ready to grab my due without showing any clemency, any mercy whatsoever, ever. Okay. So I am ever ready to show anything. Okay. If you deny it, let the danger light upon the charter and your city's freedom. So if you deny that you are not ready to give, to grant the forfeiture, you are going to use a harsh power to deny me justice, then upon your charter and your city's freedom. Well, Venice stands at a very, very important place, because Venice was a central point of business, merchandise, a central point of merchandise. So it is most likely, or rather, what should I say, it is imperative that they would follow the rules, the law. They would stick very strictly to the law. Otherwise, people would lose faith in the justice or the judicial system of Venice, and they would refrain, they would avoid, and they would choose another place which can be the central point. So by charter means the constitution, the constitution. So by your constitution and your city's freedom, the atmosphere of freedom and the rules that you have kept it, that everybody should get their justice. You will ask me why I rather choose to have a weight of carrion flesh. So why do I have such a weight of he's using the word carrion in a negative sense. So such a flesh, why do I need it instead of the money than to receive 3,000 ducats? I'll not answer that. But say it is my humor. Is it answered? Well, I'm not bound to answer you why I am opting for the money or for the flesh, which would be a rotted thing after some time, which will be of no help to me in any way. Why am I really looking forward to that instead of instead of taking money, maybe taking more money as they are now possibly offering? Well, I won't answer that. But say it is my humor. It's my humor. What I like to do, I'm enjoying doing it. That's all. Take it like that. Is it answered? Actually, what we must understand is that it is not all for the sake of humor. Humor means, actually, Elizabethan times, humor was a very word. Means my feelings, my senses, something like that. Here he is using it. Well, that's how I like it. And I think that should answer. That should suffice. But actually, we must understand, he is, not only does he hate Antonio, he wants to get rid of Antonio once and for all. He wants to finish up with Antonio just once and for all. Why, if I be pleased, what if my house be troubled with a rat, and I be pleased to give 10,000 ducats to have it banned? Well, see, which is the most improbable thing. There is a rat in my house which is troubling me, and I'm ready to spend 10,000 ducats to get rid of it. That is, anybody would say that is sheer madness. That's a huge amount of money. So that's sheer madness. But well, that is how I like it. That's why I want his flesh, rotting flesh. Then the money. That's all. I think you are answered. Some men there are love not a gaping pig. Actually, this could be a reference to the Jews itself, because here gaping pig means a pig kicked, or rather cooked for the food table. So a roasted pig maybe. So some people dislike it. The Jews, for the Jews, it's a very a thing of hatred. And some men there are love not a gaping pig, and some that are mad if they behold a cat. And there are some people who are mad. What should I say? Others who are mad just seeing a cat. They may be unnecessarily afraid or something like that. That's all. And some people, hearing the bagpipe, they cannot control themselves. So all these type of things are there. Well, that is That is the humor of every person. That is how it is, the nature of every person. That's all. There is no answer, or rather what he wants to say is, I am not bound to give any answer, and I am not prepared to give any answer. That is for certain. I think we should do up to this much, and as your exams are coming near, I would look forward to finish it off someday. I don't know how.